Mark, your speech had me wondering, what do you have against Christmas wreaths?
That's right. That's true.
That speaks to a great point to where you wanted me to look for if you were relatable or if some of your storytelling was even too simplistic. And that's your strongest, probably, characteristic of your speeches is your storytelling and how relatable you are with the humor like that, the other great hits from your speech that you just work in so effortlessly, is so creative. Your mother loved laundry, and I let her. I let her do my laundry. And have you ever done laundry before? Not here. Just great, really clever writing and delivery. You were wondering if there was things you could, so your speech was, it'll all come out in the wash. And so that was your kind of overarching analogy that you were trying to tie your life stories to give lessons to the audience. And you asked, what are some things that you could include or take away? Something I would suggest is maybe a little bit more repetition of the analogy, and maybe set the stage at the beginning of your speech with the seemingly simple sentence that my mother taught me as a kid, it'll all come out in the wash, actually has several different lessons that you can take out of it. Because the reason I suggest prefacing with that is you had 3 great fun stories that each had great lessons, but I had a little bit harder time relating them back to the original analogy because I just came up with my own lesson right off the bat with it'll all come out of the wash, don't worry, it'll all work itself out kind of a thing. And so then I found myself trying to force the lessons I was getting from these stories somehow to that one interpretation of your analogy. And so then with that you could repeat, it'll all come out in the wash. After each story, it'll all come out in the wash, another way. Quite literally, if you got wine on your thing before your date, quite literally, it'll all come out in the wash kind of thing. So you were curious if your transitions from story to message were effective. I think they were because the messages were so interwoven with the stories. And you were curious if we had possible takeaways. I had several great ones where your mom described doing laundry like therapy with her initial analogy of it'll all come out in the wash. You trying to do laundry for the first time, learning that sometimes friction is good. And road rage really taught you to have empathy for the other person and what might be going on in their day. And so, I could immediately, if I were to think of a expression that it'll all come out in the wash might not be the immediate one, but if you tie it back with repetition, I think it would be very effective. So, I really loved your speech. I'll probably go over time with this, but I wanted to get in there. You have very safe physical gestures and such a calming, relatable presentation, which is great, and that's your style. There's definitely the opportunity to include more physical exaggerations, like the bubbles were climbing higher and the manager ran around the machines or something. But what's funny is it's kind of a catch-22 because, yes, it could add more emphasis and dynamic presentation to your style, but it's also kind of at odds with what's so relatable about your style too. So there's opportunity there to mix a little bit more in, but hopefully not throw your own style out with the wash, with the laundry.